How's it going, everybody? JT here on behalf of the ETH Finance Daily General Discussion and the EV Mavericks on our Ethereum. We are streaming live on YouTube, on Twitch, and 2 different channels on X, and I think LinkedIn as well. So we're happy that everybody could make it in. It's been kind of a rush getting everything together this morning, but we made it. I'm pretty excited to see everybody out there. If you guys are watching this anywhere you are, give it a thumbs up, drop us a comment, give us a share if you want to do that. That would be just fantastic. So, there will be no show next week. I will be visiting Ireland, apparently. So will Child P. His first name starts with P, but I don't want to give that away. So he's a fellow ETH Finance EV Maverick that it's so weird. Like, Childs and I were not roommates, but next door neighbors at the first Hodler Con in Hawaii. He just happens to be in the same town as I'm going to be visiting Galway in Ireland, and we're going to go get a beer together, he and his wife and my wife and I and a couple of new friends that I've made over there in my journey. So I'm really excited to get over to Ireland and check it out. I don't know that we're going to advertise too much about where we're going to be because the pubs are so packed in the summer. I don't know how easy it's going to be for people to meet up anyway, but if you're over there, if you're hearing this, give me a shout. I'll be over in Ireland in Dublin area. Let's see, the 8th through the 12th, leaving on the 12th to Galway, 12th to the 16th, and then back to Dublin. So I can't wait to visit your country if you're from there, and if you've been there, I'm sure that you got good things to say about it. I guess the people are Midwest nice, and they drink all the Guinness and twice the Irish cream over there. So I'm excited. I got family heritage over in those parts. I never did do an Ancestry.com thing. I'm just going to go for now and just enjoy what I see while I'm there. So I hope you guys are all doing great out there. It's a Friday in June 6th. This is our 114th episode. I don't have a guest today, but we got a slew of guests that are going to be coming down the pike all the way into August. We're booking straight up all the way through almost 2. I only got like 2 Fridays left in August. There's a chance I'll have somebody on the 20th. I got a couple of people in mind. I recently ran into a lawyer, and I think we need to have this conversation about end of life. What's a will versus a trust? How do we treat crypto? I met a young lawyer who is at least somewhat versed in crypto, not terribly well versed, but they have really good ways of describing what they view the asset to be as far as like property goes. And so it'd be good to have some Mavericks tune in because I think it's an important conversation we're all going to need to have. So I might put him on June 20th. But other than that, let's just go to dailydoots.com if you want to follow along. This website is designed by and produced by our very own Hani Abu, a legend on X. If you haven't followed Hani Abu, you should. He does dailydoots.com and about 24 other websites dedicated to Ethereum and data metrics. So, and a big thanks to Tricky Troll for helping curate all of these dudes across our Ethereum on Reddit. And of course, the A word for curating what is today our weekly list. So if you haven't had a chance to subscribe to us, do that now. Give us a like I said, smash the bell, whatever you got to do to stay tuned. Episode 114 is underway. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our rich list here. Super Fizz is at the top, so we'll start at the bottom. JS Tears at 111. Actually, I need to maybe redo. Yeah, update. Here we go. JS Tears climbs up to 114. Aiden Cairo and Ethical Trade still tied at the 8 and 9 spots at 118. Crypto Wild Currency at 121. Hani Abu at 129. He's climbing up. Tricky Troll at 155. Benito 2030 at 172. Logri the Bard is at 206. Harog is smashing it. He's at 220, and Super Fizz at the top of the leaderboard at 224. All right, we got a ton of upcoming events. If you haven't had a chance and you're in these areas, you should go check them out. ETH Belgrade, June 8th, 3rd through the 8th, And then the NFT conference, non-fungible conference, should say, NFC conference, is Lisbon, Portugal, June 4th through the 6th. June 11th through the 15th is Offscript in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. Protocol Berg is in Berlin, Germany, June 12th through the 13th. We have June 13th through the 15th, ETH Kiev and Ukraine. Be sure to take your fiber optic cable with you, stretch it high above your head. DAppCon is in Berlin, Germany, 16th through the 18th. NFT NYC is in New York City, USA, June 23rd through the 25th. Permissionless 4 is also in New York City around that same time, 24th, 25th. ETH Cluj, I don't know how to say this. Is this Cluj-Napoca? That is June 26th through the 28th. And ETHCC, the big boy, Cannes, France, at the 30th through July 3rd. That's the big conference. That's going to be a good one. All right, very good. Our current daily. No, we need to go to the podcast. Let's go to weekly roundups, actually. I screwed this up. Sorry, guys. Weekly roundups. So, oh wait, we got does he have the announcements on here? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go back over to the overview because I want to make sure we shout out the upcoming guests. Where did you put those, Handy up? Daily Threads podcast. Let me look at the podcast, see if that has it. Oh yeah, here we go. So, Afo and Matt from Green Pill Dev Guild, July 4th, we will not have a show, obviously. Mike Rainbow from Rainbow Wallet on July 18th. July 25th, Marco Mirabella from Insuro. Off the top of my head, we got Maple Finance. I don't have it on here, but Maple Finance is going to be coming down the pike. That's a guest of Logri the Bard. They're a really interesting group. And then I'm gonna see if I can get a couple of people back on later on in September as a recap of episodes. And then, of course, like I mentioned, I'm going to get this lawyer on. I think this end-of-life thing is and just the trusts and estates and wills and how do you pass crypto down and what's the best kind of way to put that stuff under lock and key. The big deal with trusts, and I'll just riff on this for a second, is it protects from probate. So if you have a trust set up and your kid, gets in trouble or whatever, some of the assets that they have in their possession actually belong to the trust, so they cannot be confiscated by the courts, so on and so forth. So it's a locking mechanism for your most precious assets. All right, very good. Let's go for it. He's got June 30th. This is incorrect date. Episode 114. Let's get right into the morning roundup. $10.09 chimes in Ethereum. Frank the Tank at 24.58 on the price. And Self-Made Millionaire looks like a relative newcomer to the Trinity at 0.23 on the ratio. Weekly haiku courtesy of JS Tears. Pre-confirmation, cross-chain communication, block space, abstraction. How does he do it? JS Tears, how do you do it? All right, sorry, I got some allergies kicking up. Insurance guy question, user insurance guy question, notices a significant statement by the SEC, and then user ETHFan has an update on staking from the SEC. Insurance guy question is a duder number 5, and ETHFan, I know because I just graded him, ETHFan is a duder number 2 for this week. So this is huge information here by the SEC. If this goes through, this means staking ETH won't be considered a security transaction, which can eliminate the current tax burden we all have to pay with staking ETH awards. It also paves the way for an easier ETH staking ETF approval since brokerages won't have to worry about breaking security laws. This is massive regulation clarity. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. I love that. Would be fantastic. Okay, ETHFan replies. ETHFan's actually they're a duder number 2, but they've been along since the original ETH trader days. Wow, the SEC really added to the original statement since yesterday. They updated at least twice to further clarify items since it was posted. My question is for U.S. stakers. If staking rewards are deemed not securities, then would staking rewards only be taxed once as income or as capital gains? Interesting. Yeah, which do you prefer? Do you want it to be taxed once as income or as cap gains? Sorry, my allergies are killing me right now. So, yeah, do you want it taxed as income or as capital gains? The taxed as income is interesting. Because I would just basically, I don't know what percent they would take if they assessed it as income. If they take it as capital gains, well, if you staked it for a year and you held it for a year, technically, would that not be long term? 15%. You know, and I kind of look at it this way. Like, if you're a farmer, I mean, I look at it this way. If it's a commodity, if ETH is a commodity, you're a farmer. You grow corn from seed that's obviously not owned by Monsanto, because that's a whole different topic. Did you guys know that? If you use seed from Monsanto, you cannot hold seed over for the next year's crop. They will sue you and take your farm. You sign paperwork. It's nuts, but it's true. I know farmers that deal with Monsanto. They have like some of the best products, but it's like you're chained to them. But let's say you're a farmer and you grow corn. You sell corn to the market, you get the market price, you pay the taxes off of that, right? But if your corn yields more corn, you don't get taxed on that until you sell it, you know? So I kind of view ETH kind of the same way. So in that instance, is it because you're not being charged as income until you take it to market. Until you take it to the grain elevator, they weigh it and they pay it. So in that sense, like, maybe, you know, you do treat it like capital gains. I don't know. This is going to be interesting to see what comes of this. I feel like this idea that I just want to open up the link to the SEC and just take a look at this. So as a part of an effort to provide greater clarity on the application of the federal securities laws to crypto assets, Division of Corporate Finance providing its views on certain activities known as staking, proof of stake, consensus, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, boy, they really wrote some stuff down. God, isn't it nice? It's so good that they're getting some clarity going. Let's see, staking with, okay, self or solo staking. Here we go. Let's look at this paragraph specifically. A node operator's self or solo staking is not undertaken with a reasonable expectation of profits to be derived from the entrepreneurial or managerial efforts of others. Rather, node operators contribute their own resources and stake their own covered crypto assets. That's right, thereby securing the proof of stake network and facilitating the network's operation through the validation of new blocks, which enables them to qualify for rewards issued by the proof of stake network in accordance with its underlying software protocol. To earn rewards, the node operator's activities must comply with the rules of the protocol. Okay, duh. By staking its own covered crypto assets and engaging, see, they capitalize this here, covered crypto assets. And engage, see, this is like new terminology. If they're putting capital letters on it, this is a well-defined thing. So it must have been defined maybe in another document, but anyway. By staking its own covered crypto assets and engaging in protocol staking, the node operator is merely engaging in an administrative or ministerial activity to secure the proof of stake network and facilitate its operation. A node operator's expectation to receive rewards is not derived from any third party's managerial, there it is, or entrepreneurial efforts upon which the proof of stake network's success depends. Yay, decentralization. Instead, the expected financial incentive from the protocol is derived solely from the administrative or ministerial act of protocol staking. As such, rewards are payments to the node operator in exchange for the services it provides to the network, rather than profits derived from the entrepreneurial or managerial efforts to others. Am I the only one that's like excited they're writing it and they're putting it in black and white, finally, all the things that we've been, you know, championing for a long time? That's correct. There's no third party above that's facilitating the reward. The reward is being derived directly through the protocol. That's the payment. Love it. I love it. Great question, insurance guy. I love it. Congrats on making it to the weekly show. Excellent. Thank you for bringing that to the daily. All right, moving on down. Yeah, and if there's anybody that wants to join the conversation, jump on the Discord. You should have a link there in the description of this video if you want to jump on. Raise your hand if you're in the audience. You want to jump on stage with me. Happy to have you join the conversation. Okay, the Hans Gruber discusses operator numbers on node set. There are now 60 plus operators with node set running 12 validators each, with the other 100 or so operators catching up to the current maximum of 12. The amount of ETH committed or expected thus far is going to take each operator closer to 50 each. Couple 100,000 ETH staked across a diverse and decentralized group of home stakers, semi-pro, and pro operators, with the average validator performance matching exceeding existing massive and centralized entities, whilst upholding Ethereum's ethos and retaining the ability to scale to whatever size of deposits roll in. When the staking ETFs go live, it will only be a matter of time before they realize some, if not all, of that ETH can and should be staked with node set. Disclaimer, I am an operator with node set and lack the ability to be bearish. That is the Hans Gruber. He's a Deuter 34. You heard it from the Hans Gruber right here. User Fill the Dots is looking for feedback on self-custody setup. Oh boy, here we go, self-custody. Fill the Dots is a Deuter number 1. Congratulations on getting onto the weekly show as a Deuter number 1. Congratulations, fantastic. All right, very good. Fill the Dots. It's still clapping. How did I get myself muted? That's cool. Oh, wow. I have a hotkey set up on my pad here. That's nuts. Okay, apologies out there if I was cutting in and out on Discord. All right, Fill the Dots, Deuter number 1. Hi, all. A few months ago, I wrote some considerations about how to achieve a convenient yet safe self-custodial setup. Recently, I put some more thought into it, taking inspiration from established bank security approaches, interesting, and running through some common scenarios. I am posting my thoughts here to gain valuable feedback and check whether I'm missing something and sharing it with whom might be looking for some similar solutions. Here's the objective. Bullet number 1, conveniently use only your phone for daily spending. Ah, nice. Number 2, have a bank equivalent degree of safety against common scenarios and still have full self-custody, and it's got to be relatively cheap. The cost is basically a tracer. Here's the setup. The core of it is a safe account in a 2 of 2 configuration with the following features. Signer number 1 is your phone with the Safe Wallet app, configured with a personal spending allowance of 100 USDC a day. Interesting. Signer number 2 is a Trezor, used in addition to Signer 1 to approve operations without limits, configured with a wipe code. And then finally, a recovery code. See Safe Recovery module. Let me open this up. Configured with a 1-month delay, written in encrypted form on one or more pieces of non-degradable material and placed in one or more secret locations. Okay, so there's help.safe.global site, account recovery with Safe. It's a recovery hub, and it's like it gives you the instructions on how to do this. Okay, the common and less common loss and theft scenarios. Number 1, what if my phone in this scenario gets stolen or lost? Your funds are safe, as an attacker would still need to bypass your PIN and password and your fingerprint and face protections. And even in such high unlikely case, he would be able to steal only 100 USDC per day. Use the recovery code to reassign the signing rights. So now, what if my Trezor gets stolen or lost? The same reasoning for the phone applies. Use the recovery code to reassign signing rights. Number 3, what if my recovery code gets lost or stolen? An attacker would still need the decryption password to access it. Should he somehow have it, he'd still have to wait for a month to take control of the account, during which you'd get notified on the Safe Wallet app and be able to cancel the attempt. Use your phone and the Trezor to replace the recovery code. And finally, what if I'm threatened with a $5 wrench to hand everything over? Pretend the Trezor is broken and give the attacker the wipe code. Using that will make the device effectively unusable. From that moment, the only option the attacker has is to use your recovery code and wait for a month. Hopefully, you get rescued in that time. Okay, well, a couple of features I wish Safe had to make this even better. The ability to block spending immediately without delay using the recovery code. Ah, nice. This would allow to immediately block the attacker from accessing your 100 USDC daily allowance in the worst case of scenario number 1. The ability to replace the recovery code with a social recovery, similarly to Argent's Guardians concept. Good stuff, Fill the Dots. User Fill the Dots. That's so good. I always love it when the first time Duder gets on the show with some banging advice. Fantastic. Oh, enjoy. All right, moving on down. User SM3GH34D investigates the bandwidth implications of pumping the gas, and user Bigger Footer covers Bigger Footer. What a name. User Bigger Footer covers all core dev support for the 60 million gas limit. Let me look at SM3's Doots score is a Duder number 13. Looks like Minimal Gravitas got it on this one as well. And the other person in this thread, let's see. I don't have them down here. Okay. So there's a link to the Ether research here. You can check it out as well. It says using the EIP 7623 EIP estimates for 30 million gas, the max block size post-Pectra for a 60 million gas block should be around or a little less than 2 megabytes. Or maybe that's megabits. That's still significantly lower than max block size before Pectra at 30 million. The sustained block traffic will be higher at 60 million, but likely won't be too terrible. Did you see the empirical research from Panda Ops? It's worth checking your bandwidth at home. Maybe limit your peer count by half if you notice a big spike in utilization. Execution peers are mostly a cost, except during reorgs. Most nodes can get by very well with 25 or fewer execution peers, but most clients default to 50 plus. Consensus layer peers affect financial performance, so I'd be more judicious about dropping below the typical default of 100. I would measure my traffic before and after and react to what you observe. There are a number of variables like peer-to-peer transaction propagation, serving sync traffic, etc., that make giving a reliable traffic estimate fraught. User Bigger Footer replies. Now I can see their score. I want to make sure I get this out there. Duder number 1 coming in with the reply. Gas limit increased to 60 million accepted. Client teams aligned on raising the gas limit to 60 million. Hey, any increase beyond 60 million should be gradual. So they said. So yeah, great job. I like it. I love it. I love it.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Great job. User Grow the Pie delivers some impressive growth stats on Ethereum this last week. Grow the Pie is growing fast on our list with so much great engagement. Thank you so much, Grow the Pie, for contributing to the our Ethereum Daily General Discussion. A Duder number 41 for this week. Last week, Ethereum weekly engagement hit a new all-time high. Over 17 million addresses engaged with the Ethereum ecosystem last week. It's up 16.95% from last week. Most of the growth came from wallets using a single layer 2 with a slight increase in cross-layer activity. For the full breakdown, looks like 86.2% were single layer 2, Ethereum mainnet at 10.4, multiple layers 1.9, and cross layer at 1.5. Top 3 change, base, and then followed by Ethereum mainnet, followed by for cross chain. It looks like top 3 chains, and it's a little out of order. Looks like base and I see what they did here. Okay, my apologies. Yes, base followed by Ethereum mainnet followed by Arbitrum 1. Moving on to the monthly metrics for May, we have seen all-time highs in throughput, active addresses, transaction count, Ethereum blobs, and data posted. Thank you so much, Grow the Pie. for all the stats. You do such a great job helping us with this information. User Harog details the announced reorganization of the Ethereum Foundation Research and Development. Yesterday, there was a big announcement of a reorganization of the Ethereum Foundation Research and Development, which they now call Protocol with a capital P. Let's go. We had a discussion here a few weeks ago about reorganizing the Ethereum Foundation structure. So quite a few new groups have been built and quite a few new old ones have been removed. I guess some of the reshuffling of people was just formalizing what was a reality for some time anyway, meaning people did jobs that were not associated with their former teams, so they made new teams now. Other changes are to focus on what's important in the next few years. Some changes have been more drastic. The engineering side of things has seen some drastic changes. For instance, the hardest hit one is the portal team. The whole team has been disbanded and the people have been let go. In my understanding, the portal network was an important part of the longer term plan for history expiry and in general light client access to Ethereum. Apparently, it was not deemed important. Similar is the Epsilon team. Only 2 of the 7 people stayed at the Ethereum Foundation. The Epsilon team did the implementation and analysis of everything related to the EVM. I guess after the whole EOF debacle, things had to be reorganized. Also, the 2 programming language specific teams, JavaScript and Python, have been disbanded. Some people have found new homes in other teams which use that specific programming language, Steel, S-T-E-E-L. But in the JavaScript team, only 1 person stays at the foundation. On the research side of things, some teams, here we go, cryptography, security, and RIG have been untouched. Some others, such as ARG, consensus, and research ops, have been split up and reorganized into new teams. I do not see any large change here except changing names. The biggest person missing is Mike Neuter. He will be missed. But he announced that he will pursue a PhD at Princeton. Holy crap. So I guess that was the reason he's not on the chart anymore. Excuse me, I'm gonna get a drink of water. You know what that means.
If Vitalik took time off, we would lose a great researcher.
A great mind.
And he's not just writing about Ethereum, he's writing about
drink some water now.
collusion systems.
Crypto economics.
That would be a tremendous loss to
Just
the
keep
world,
chugging.
But the Ethereum machine would just keep chugging.
That's right.
Just keep chugging. Just keep chugging. Just keep chugging. Just keep chugging. Just keep chugging.
Never gets old. All right, so Mike Neuter's going to get a PhD at Princeton, so I guess that was the reason he's not on the new chart anymore. Again, as an outsider like me, it's hard to tell if the changes are good or bad, but things are changing at the Ethereum Foundation. Edit. Completely forgot to mention Peter, who was the Geth lead, is not on the new chart anymore. Not surprising, as he was on a sabbatical since last autumn, and it did not sound like he was coming back anyway. With this new chart, it seems to be definitive. He never was the easiest person in the space, especially his emotional tweets have not made him a lot of friends. But he led the Geth team since 2017 or so after Jeff Wilk left for health reasons. Peter and the Geth team were responsible that Ethereum had a very stable and resilient client, even during the more stormy weathers of its past. All right. Good stuff, good stuff. All right, Nixo. Golly, Nixo bringing a contribution. Duder76 shares her third all-core devs call summary. Checkpoint number 3. Checkpoint number 3 is posted. There are high-level summaries of the state of the core development. I spend way too much time following the core development process, so this is really an easy way for me to make sure people don't have to spend 2.5 hours a week watching YouTube live streams to keep up with the state of the Ethereum upgrades. As always, please let me know if there's any way I can make the next one better. And user SM3GH34D said, responding to SM3, saying, I did manage to get the anchor links in there this time with user Wackaro's help. And there's a link at blog.ethereum.org. You can also find it on today's podcast episode at dailydoots.com. And she also says, I feel like I should clarify that these are entirely human written, not even AI assisted. Haha. So you're reading my words, not some general slop. And there you have it right there. Yeah, she does a good job with that. Thank you, Nixo, for sharing on our Ethereum. And finally, for this week, Logri the Bard. Logri the Bard looks far into the future to discuss UBI and human employment in a world of abundance and advanced AI. I'm going to get another drink. Nice. All right. In my next step in my AI post series, boy, here we go. I'll be talking about UBI and full employment. Strap in. Here we go. The second outcome is that we recognize the horrors laying ahead and manage to coordinate as a species at an unprecedented level. There are many challenges here. Not only do we not have consensus at a philosophical level on, quote, giving people free money, unquote, the entrenched power structures will work at every step to protect the status quo. Even if we had society-wide consensus, how do you actually implement this agenda? Where does the money come from? If you try to tax it from corporations and billionaires, I expect they'll just incorporate in a different jurisdiction. If you're playing a race to the bottom game between various governments around the world for who is willing to give those billionaires the most favorable treatment to live there, any form of wealth tax on digital wealth, most things except property tax, can escape the tax jurisdiction. Also, good luck jailing an AI agent or corporation for not being in compliance with your tax laws. Blockchains only exacerbate this problem because judicial orders can't be enforced on addresses like they can on bank accounts. Laws only hold people accountable. Systems that function independent of people lack an enforcement point for laws. Printing the money isn't viable at this scale either, when everyone can just store their value in something that isn't robbing them. A long-running thesis of mine is that blockchains are removing the friction of converting between different denominations of value. A combination of tokenized securities, decentralized exchanges, and fiat off-ramps will enable you to, air quotes, spend MSFT shares at point of sale to buy a sandwich. The buyer won't need to hold hyperinflationary fiat. Even the receiving business doesn't need to hold their cash flow in fiat, as long as they carve off the sales tax before converting it into the store of asset value of their choice. So what's left? The most sustainable implementation I've read about bypasses the existing monetary system entirely. Rather than give people money to spend, you create automation at a common good level, excludable and non-rivalrous, that grants each person a non-alienable claim to a pro rata share of the output. I got to read that sentence again. That's a lot. Logri, in one sentence. Listen to this. I'll do it again. Rather than give people money to spend, you create automation at a common good level that grants each person a non-alienable claim to a pro rata share of the output. That's big time. Everyone can claim their ration of bread. However, as soon as you give people choice in what goods to claim, you're going to end up creating a market with some new type of food coin to balance supply and demand on each commodity. This is basically a new money that only has claim on automation rather than human labor. Of course, even proposing this system begs the question of how do you build it in the first place? It's like saying we could solve world hunger if someone gives us the magic bread making machine from the thought exercise above. I'm open-minded to new ideas, but I haven't come across anything that seems sustainable yet. The internet's favorite take increasingly seems to burn it all down and start the monetary system from zero. I don't know if a revolution is actually viable in a world where AI can deduce the thought leaders and then the police just disappear them as terrorists. Modern technology has increased the number of people that can be suppressed by a single compliant individual by a few orders of magnitude since the last time wealth inequality reached this level, and the guillotines reset everything. I doubt it will play out this way, but if it does, it isn't going to play out like the romanticized ideas of the collapsed community. Also, and here's a controversial take, I'm not actually a fan of pure UBI future. Even in the unlikely case where we could politically align on both a direction and implementation and implement it without corruption, coordination failures, or eventual corporate capture, I still think it dangerously disregards human psychology and incentive alignment. Among the best possible outcomes of this route is some distant Wall-E or Brave New World style future, where lives consist of empty pleasures all day. We lose our capacity for critical thinking and either populate until we reach the resource limits of whatever section of space we have access to, or go extinct because we have no drive to expand at all. The sole source of hope I'll give you in this direction is that there's nothing in the rules of physics which says that we should be able to make so much more with so much less work, and that we should be poorer for it at the median. Rome was able to offer the daily bread to citizens 2,000 years ago when the productivity per farmer wasn't 1/100th of what it is today. 1 out of 2 people in the U.S. used to be farmers. Now it's less than 1%. The world doesn't have an energy or housing or food shortage. Humanity has given a shit storage, especially amongst those with all the power. We have a global empathy shortage and a mass coordination failure that perpetrates extraordinary amounts of unnecessary suffering. A more humane future is physically possible. Well, thank you, Logri the Bard. I always like reading your takes on AI. Logri the Bard is our number 3 person on our current leaderboard. Yeah, so I hope you guys have enjoyed today's episode. Give us a like, smash the bell. It's going to be a short day. Obviously, I don't have a guest currently, and my allergies are kind of crappy too. I'm just really glad that I was able to get back from seeing family in Wichita so I could jump on here and get the show underway on time, I will say. And hope you guys are able to join us in the daily thread sometime. Stop by our Ethereum on Reddit. If you don't use Reddit, well, I can recommend one place you can come on Reddit and make that your only place. That's our Ethereum, r/Ethereum, and look for us in the daily general discussion. Check out all of the Doots at dailydoots.com. We have a list of all the previous shows that we've done, and we really are happy that you could join us for this 114th episode for June 6, 2025. Just a reminder, there will be no show next week. I'll be in Ireland having a few beers. That is for damn sure. All right. Well, if you want to stick around after the live stream, you can join us on Discord for a bonus hour of popcorn. It's a fun place to let loose when the parents aren't watching on YouTube. Hi, Mom. On behalf of the eFinance Daily Journal discussion on our Ethereum and the EV Mavericks DAO, my name is JT. Cheers and big hugs from Kansas City.